I need you guys to have a seat before you go to the drink table, just so I can give you an idea of what's going on. Just have a quick seat. I'm not going to talk a lot. I know that I talk a lot most times, but not today. Please take your seats. Please take your seats. If you can, please have a seat. Just real quick. Everybody, please come on in, take a seat if you will. We're going to get started so you can get to the fabulous breakfast that you came to. I just would like to say, welcome to our Veterans Day breakfast, lunch, and fabulous celebration. All our veterans, thank you, thank you, thank you. Clap, everybody. Of course, I'm Sabrina Hudson. I'm the facility manager here. I know. I'm changing my name after today. Where is security? Come in here, Bruce, out here. He looks too nice. We're here to celebrate our veterans today, and I would like to welcome you all, from all our family and friends, from all of the Benson family, from our staff members and Fulton County government. We want to thank you all for coming. We want to thank you to all the veterans, all the services that you all have provided for us in order to be here. Again, let's get another big round of applause for all of our veterans here. Now, we have a wonderful band and program planned for you in advance. We would like to thank the Mary Hall ladies who are here. If you see them at all the stations, they're here to assist us with our service of our meal. You all will be doing a buffet type meal today. You'll be able to go up and choose what you want. And Quentin and his staff has put together something really nice, so I want to thank them in advance. To the staff members who have decorated this place, doesn't it look patriotic in here?
Volunteers.
And the volunteers. Some of you have been here for quite some time, so you know how we do it. We like to not talk so much and not make the program so long so you can have a good time. So I'm just here to say welcome. We're going to go into the band, and you guys will be able to light up. When do we want them to go to the drink stations?
After the speaker.
Okay. All right, we're going to have the band go into their spiel. This is the Langley Band. And you guys, those of you that have been here for some time, you know them. You know they can really put on a party. The ties, if you can see it from out there, don't they look good?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to let them get started. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, we've got these flags up here, folks, or they were kind enough to put these flags up, and I'm going to attempt to read from the back and play. We'll all play the songs in the order that they're up here. If you were in the Army, we'd love for you to stand, and then the Navy and Marines, and boy, did I have a good Marine story. Over Dale, we have built the Mississippi Trail, and those big signs go rolling along. Out the out, give the shout, along out the back, and those big signs go rolling along. to the Coast Guard marching song. We sing on land and sea, to serve and home, and how they give I shall our purpose be. The silver grass is our guide, our fame, our glory too. To fight and sing or to fight and die, I Coast Guard, we are for you.
Good morning. Let's give May and these band members a round of applause. Wasn't that wonderful? They did a great job. We sure enough we have the flag. So now we're going to get ready to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And I just want to give you a little order of what's going to happen so you're not left in suspense. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Then May's going to play. They're going to play the national anthem. And then we're going to have our speaker. So we're going to do all of that, and I trust and believe the speaker won't be long. So she'll speak, and then we're going to eat, and then we're going to party. All right? So we want to make sure that we have a good time. We're celebrating today. So we're going to start now. Well, here's the flag, and if you would please stand as we do the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, are we ready? All right, here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose cross lines and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly slain, and the rockets red flare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Mic check, thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Can you all hear me?
Turn it up a little bit. You can, no, go ahead. Bring it out.
Thank you all so much for being here, and I'm really, really proud and honored to have the opportunity to introduce our esteemed guest and speaker. Before I bring her up, I want to tell you a little bit about Miss Jennifer L. Jones. Jennifer recently retired from AT&T after a 30-year career. For the last 7 years as Vice President, Diverse Markets, she led AT&T's marketing directed at the growing diverse segments within the U.S. Under her leadership, AT&T earned numerous recognition and awards for outstanding and best-in-class multicultural marketing. Prior to joining AT&T, she was a financial planner with the investment firm Merrill Lynch. Always passionate about health and fitness, and she is passionate. Jennifer has started a new chapter of her life as a fitness trainer and health coach, focusing on mature adults and seniors who want to look and feel their best at any age. Post-retirement, she also continues working with community boards that focus on some of her key interests: STEM education as a Kennesaw State University College of Math and Science Advisory Board member, the arts as a board member of True Colors Theater, and now also a Friends of Benson board member. A native of Detroit, Michigan, Jennifer is a graduate of the University of Michigan and Wayne State University, earning her MBA, and completed a marketing management executive program at Harvard Business School. She is a former officer in the United States Army Reserve and a Gulf War Desert Storm veteran. Jennifer and her wonderful husband, Robert Bellin, reside in Sandy Springs and are the proud parents of Brandon Bellin Jones. If you would join me in giving Jennifer a big round of applause as we welcome her to the stage.
Thank you, Nicole. I don't know who she was talking about with all that stuff. Thank you so much. Welcome again, and thank you all for coming. Now, I'm a believer in the three-pronged approach to public speaking. Be good, be brief, and be gone. So I know that you guys are here, you want breakfast. Hopefully some of you had a little bit to eat. I won't be up here long, maybe an hour or so. So I'm going to touch on 4 quick areas, and then we're going to eat breakfast. The first one are a few fun facts about veterans. The second is an abridged version of my military experience and how it helped me in my corporate career. And third, I will share what the saying, "Thank you for your service," means to me. And last, I have a challenge for all of us in the room today. So, Veterans Day. I think most of you probably know that Veterans Day originally was called Armistice Day. And it was put in place after World War I to honor all of those that fought in World War I, because World War I was the war to end all wars, except it didn't. So after World War II and Korea, there was a big push to let's honor all veterans that served, regardless of the conflict that they served in the past, or perhaps even in the future. So in 1954, Armistice Day was changed to Veterans Day, and November 11th has been Veterans Day ever since. So that's a little history there for you. Now, there are currently over 21 million living veterans in the U.S. Georgia, we have 700,000 here in Georgia. That's a big number, but that's also fewer than 10% of all Americans. In fact, fewer than 1% are currently serving in any capacity within the militaries. And I think we have one active duty member here with us today, do we? There we go, we do have one active duty member. So U.S. veterans range in age from 18 to 111. Our oldest veteran is 111, lives in Austin, Texas. Lives in Austin, Texas. He says his secret to long life is a shot every day. Who knows? 7% of our veterans here in the U.S. are female, and here in Georgia, 10% of our veterans are female. They come from every background, veterans in the U.S., and they reflect the population of America. They include every race, every ethnic group, and religion. The majority of living veterans, about 30%, served during the Vietnam era. The next largest percentage, which is about 25%, actually served in what we refer to as peacetime. followed by the Gulf War, first one at 18%, the second one at 16%, Korea 18%, and the remaining include conflicts such as Grenada, Panama, Lebanon, Somalia, Bosnia, and of course Afghanistan. So, a little bit about how I became a part of the military and a veteran. In the mid-'80s, I was looking for a way to pay for graduate school. I admit, very selfish motive. I was looking for a way to pay for graduate school. I didn't want to take out a lot of big loans, and I didn't really have a lot of money myself. So the guy that I was dating suggested a program that the military had. Now, of course, in retrospect, he was clearly trying to get rid of me, but it turned out okay. So I investigated, and I found a program offered by the National Guard that allowed you to be reimbursed for your tuition. I'm like, I think I can do that. So the state that I was living in at the time, Michigan, I joined the National Guard. I went to basic training, I went to advanced training, I returned home 6 months later, and I began grad school and also fulfilling my duties to the Guard, which was 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks in the summer. And even though this started off as a very selfish motive, money for grad school, I found that I really liked it. I liked the discipline, I liked the challenge, I liked the extreme work. And so I decided that, I think I can do this. Maybe even do 20 years and, have a nice little pension there. So I decided if I was going to stay, I needed to stay as an officer. So I went to OCS, and all went well there. I completed my graduate degree, my MBA, and I started working for AT&T, and everything seemed like it was great. Then 3 years later, in August of 1990, Iran invaded Kuwait, and my unit was activated. So, needless to say, that was an interesting twist of events, something I certainly did not plan on. Remember, I started this with looking for money for grad school. I was in an evacuation hospital unit, an evac hospital as we call them, and we were assigned to Dammam, Saudi Arabia, which is about 100 miles just south of the Kuwait border. It is also the area where the majority of the Scud missiles were sent. And I can tell you that almost on a daily basis, you're in a state of alert, a state of anxiety, waiting to hear those sirens go off, which puts you in what we call a mock alert, where you put on your gas mask. Remember, the fear was that the Scud missiles had been loaded with gas. So you put on your gas mask and the rest of your charcoal suit. Now, you've trained for this. We trained all the time for this. And generally, to put on your gas mask, you would have about 10 seconds. That's what your training allows you to do. But believe me, when you're in a situation and you don't know what's going on, because we always used to complain, 10 seconds is not enough. You don't need 10 seconds. You need about 3. Pick that sucker up, it's on, you seal it, and you are good to go. But I must say that during those 6 months, I learned more about leadership and leadership in a crisis than I did in all of my graduate studies, in all of my MBA leadership. It absolutely taught me the things that I needed to know to propel myself and my career forward. So when I returned home, I was very concerned. I was concerned, obviously, about my civilian job. The law does require companies to hold a job for you, but it doesn't say what job. I felt that disruption to my career, I had been up for a promotion. I thought I had been derailed. Much to my surprise, the company treated us great, welcomed everybody that was deployed back and continues to do so to this day. And in fact, within 6 months, I was promoted. So I was pretty glad about that. And I continued to use my military skills and my experience when and where appropriate, all throughout my career. I had originally planned, of course, to do 20 years with the reserves. It suited me, it suited my personality, it greatly aided my civilian career. But after 9/11 and the build-up to the Iraq conflict in the early 2000s, it was very clear that I would be activated again. And I think some of you may recall from the 70s and 80s, the Army marketing recruiting theme of be all you can be. I felt at that time I had been all I could be. So I resigned my commission. I had actually promised the Saudis I would not come back in that direction. So remember now, the Saudis just allowed women to drive, what, a month ago? Because I wore the uniform, I was able to drive in Saudi almost 30 years ago. So they didn't want me back. But I am glad for that experience. And I do believe that everything that I learned, everything that I continue to keep in me, helped me have a 30-year career with one company and retire as a vice president after many, many promotions during that time. So I am most appreciative of the service that I was able to do. And speaking of service, thank you for your service. All of you veterans, all of you part of the Veterans family, you've heard that probably for the last 10 years, maybe even every day. And for many years when I would hear that phrase, thank you for your service, whether it was spoken to me or spoken to someone else, I was a little ambivalent about it. I wondered first if the individual saying that really meant that, or were they just saying it? And if they really meant it, what were they doing tangibly to really thank someone for their service? There are veterans and veteran families in every community in need of something. Some in need of housing, shelter, human services, health services, mental health services, and crisis intervention. But I also was asking myself the same thing. What am I doing to support fellow veterans? One of my answers was to become more fully engaged in one of our employee resource groups. We had 11 of them as part of the company, and I was a member of most of them, but I was most active in a group called AT&T Veterans, which was made up of both current and retired members of AT&T that had served in the military. So we worked our main goal as a nonprofit, so we were attached to the company but not a part of the company, a nonprofit organization dedicated to serving the military and veteran community. So we worked and pressured internally as well as externally. So one of the things that we did was to ensure that the military discount that our company offered was raised from 10% to 15% off of all services that they had. And that continues today. So that any qualified active duty or military veteran or their spouse, family can avail themselves to that. We were also successful, and what I'm most proud of is working with our HR group and persuading our executive leadership to participate in the Hire a Vet campaign. This is a campaign that started in about 2011, and most of the major Fortune 500 companies signed up for it. We signed up for it in 2015, and the goal was to have a specific recruiting effort towards veterans. So we set a goal at first to hire at least 10,000 veterans over the course of 5 years. Fortunately, we were able to reach that goal in 2 years. So a new goal was set, and now the goal is 20,000 by 2020. So very proud to have that. And it's not just an effort to bring in a veteran into the company, but bring them in, train them, allow them to use the skills that they developed in the military, and let them progress upward in the company too. So I was very proud to be one of the speakers for that program, be a recruiting agent for the company and for myself, telling my story so that they could understand this is an environment that would allow them to thrive in their now civilian career. So I continue today to look for ways to make that thank you for your service relevant and tangible. So my challenge to all of us here today is to also do the same. Most of in this room are pretty fortunate. We're probably a little more fortunate on average than some of the other veterans. There are about 150 nonprofit organizations right here in the metro Atlanta area that focuses on veterans. Many of them may need volunteers. But there are also perhaps vets and veterans in your neighborhood, at your church, at your synagogue. Reach out to them. When you say thank you for your service, ask them, is there something they need? They may only need to talk to someone. And if they're over 55, invite them to the Benson Center, where they will be embraced by a whole new family. So I want to say to all of you veterans, to all of you families of veterans, I thank you very much for your service. And on this day, I salute you.
Let's give Jennifer a round of applause. And one of our very own, how special does that feel for us? So what we're going to do now, if you will open the doors to the kitchen, ladies, what we're going to do now is we're going to divide the room. All right? We're going to divide the room. And we're going to let the people get in who are waiting outside. Let them get settled. And it's time.